I never tried to be anyone's first choice. That's the part nobody believes. It was the second week of junior year when Malik transferred into our AP English class mid-semester. New school, new city, and this guy walked in like he'd been there his whole life. Not arrogant, just settled. Comfortable in a way most people spend years faking. Half the girls in that class had their phones out before he even found a seat. He sat next to me because it was the only open chair. I was the quiet one. The girl who read during lunch, who knew every teacher by their coffee order, who people described as sweet in that tone that really means forgettable. I wasn't unpopular. I just wasn't someone people noticed unless they needed the homework. Malik noticed me on day 3. Not because I did anything. I corrected our teacher under my breath about a Toni Morrison quote, quietly, just for myself, and Malik heard it. He turned and looked at me like I'd said something in a language he didn't expect anyone else to speak. He didn't say anything, just nodded once, slow, like he was filing it away. That was it. That was the whole interaction. But he kept showing up, not loudly. He'd just appear. At the library table I always sat at, in the lunch line behind me, on the bleachers during free period, never forcing conversation, just existing nearby like it was accidental. My friend Deja noticed before I did. She pulled me aside after school one Thursday with the energy of someone delivering classified information. He's been watching you for 2 weeks. Do you know what that means for someone like him? I told her she was being dramatic. She was not being dramatic. The tension came from a girl named Camille. She was the kind of beautiful that made hallways go quiet, effortless, magnetic, the type everyone assumed Malik would gravitate toward naturally. She'd been orbiting him since his first day. Strategic laughs, lingering conversations, engineered run-ins. She was playing a very deliberate game. One afternoon, she sat across from us in the library while Malik and I were debating whether Fitzgerald actually liked Gatsby or was quietly disgusted by him. Camille leaned in and tried joining the conversation. Malik answered her politely, then turned back to me mid-sentence like she hadn't spoken. Not rude, just clear. I felt her eyes on me for the rest of the hour. The next week she started telling people I was manipulative, that I was playing some calculated quiet girl angle to get attention, that it wasn't real. People who'd never spoken to me had opinions about my character overnight. Someone sent me a screenshot of a group chat. My hands shook a little reading it. I didn't respond publicly. I just kept going to class. What happened next, I didn't orchestrate. We were in the middle of an in-class essay when my pen ran dry. I didn't say anything, just shook it quietly, frustrated. Malik reached into his bag without looking up from his paper and placed a pen on my desk. Didn't make it a moment, didn't look for credit, just did it and kept writing. Something about that broke something open in me. After class, he walked with me to the parking lot and finally said what I think he'd been building toward for weeks. He told me that he'd moved 4 times in 3 years, that he was exhausted by people who performed interest, who asked questions but never listened to the answers. He said talking to me felt like exhaling. I didn't have a clever response. I just told him I knew exactly what he meant. We exchanged numbers. That night he texted me a Toni Morrison quote, the correct one. The rumors dissolved the way rumors do when reality becomes undeniable. Camille moved on. People who'd whispered about me started nodding at me in hallways. Deja acted like she'd personally engineered the whole situation. But the part that stayed with me, the part I keep turning over, is that nothing I did was strategy. I was just being exactly who I already was, in exactly the spaces I already occupied. He just happened to be someone who could actually see that. And sometimes that's the whole story. Someone finally sees you, and everything shifts.